Hey Lancers, here we go, 11.5. In this section we are going to do two parts. This section is called Volume of Pyramids and Cones. And in this first part I am going to teach you how to find the volume of a pyramid. And if we just zoom on these pictures real quick, notice how we have pyramids inside their corresponding prisms. So this is super easy and super related to what we just talked about in the previous section. Those pyramids take up 1/3 of the volume, there we go, 1/3 of the volume of its corresponding prism. So for example, if you were to take this I want to keep saying cones, take this red prism here, fill it up with water, dump it in its corresponding prism 3 times, it would fill it to the very top. Okie doke. So let's take a look at the equation. Notice in the equation, or remember in the equation before, for prisms, the volume of a prism is the big base times the height. And the big base could be any type of base, right? And this could be a square, it could be a rectangle, regular polygon. But whatever it is, we're going to take this equation, base times height, and simply multiply it by 1/3, or divide by 3, however you want to call that. Okie doke, so let's take a look at our first example, or I'm going to skip the first example, go to something a little more challenging. And this says, what is the volume in cubic feet of a square pyramid with base edges of 40 and slant height of 25? So here's our example, right? So take a look, that's our slant height. Remember, the slant height refers to the height basically of a lateral side, and then we have 40, and then this is also 40 here. So the way they're leading you is they're saying find the height of the pyramid first, but I am going to actually do it the way I would teach you, and that is let's start off with the equation. So I'm going to start off with the equation. Volume equals 1/3 times the base times the height. Now, the base is pretty easy, right? We know that that's just going to be 40 times 40 because we're dealing with a square. So, yep, let's focus our attention to finding the height. Now let's kind of zoom over here and notice what we have. We are trying to find this guy here. And if we draw this line, that's our apothem, that is actually 20 feet. So hopefully you guys can see that because this is a square as the base. And so what do, right? Now we talked about this last class, and again, this is our height. That's that guy right there. The 25 feet, that is our actual slant height. And this is, you can call that a side, call it a base, whatever you want, right? We'll call that, and I'll just call it X. So if we did some work, did a little leg work here, H, we should notice that that is a right triangle. So we got L squared equals H squared plus X squared. Let's put these values in. And we don't have H, that's what we're trying to find. Alright. And let me just throw in one more step for you. 625, H squared, and 400. Hopefully you would know to move all these to one side, the H to the other, get the square root, and we're going to end up with H is equal to 15. So let's bring it all together now, right? Volume equals 1/3. And I'm going to take this guy, that's 1600 times 15. And you throw that all into your calculator, and now we have 8,000. Okay, and we have to remember to put our unit, feet, or cubic feet. And there you go, super easy. In fact, I can just take you right onto the cone, and I talked about this earlier where a cone has the exact same formula. And so if you were to take these cones and take 3 of them and dump them right into that cylinder, it'll fill it to the brim. So the example is exactly the same, where the base times the height, and you multiply that 1/3, gets you the volume of a cone. The nice thing is, with the volume of a cone, however, is that that second part with the base is always going to be pi r squared. So I'm going to leave you with that. No example problem. I think you guys can figure this one out. Whether it's, here's an example of an oblique, I'd encourage you to read that. But again, the formula is exactly the same. Alright folks, I hope this video is helpful, and I will see you soon.